Good afternoon. The special meeting of the Bellflower City Council is called to order on Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023 at 2:05 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dutton.
Here.
Councilmember Coops.
Here.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamada. Mayor Santinez.
Here. Is there a motion to excuse the absence of Mayor Pro Tem Hamada?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Coops, seconded by Councilmember Sanchez to excuse the absence of Mayor Pro Tem Hamada without objection. That will be the order. Public comments?
Doesn't appear there's anybody here for public comments today,
So
sir.
there's no one here. There's no one in the public. How about in the back? They're not public. All right. We're going to skip item number 3. Moving on to item number 4A. Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, this is consideration possible action to conduct a city council study session concerning the 2023-25 proposed budget. Today, what we have is the 19 items that were added at the last council meeting. We're going to go over the 19 items. I think we'll do it one by one, and council will get consensus on it. And if there is consensus from the council, we'll add it to the budget for this year.
Let me just, for clarification, all these items came from the council itself. So
Yes, that's
the
correct.
burden is not on you guys, okay? It's on us. Thank you.
Okay. First one is to add a no-call traffic car in the public safety, 363,000 in the first budget year, 381,000 in the second budget year. 363,000 in the first budget year, 381,000 in the second budget year.
Jeff.
Is that different than the?
There's a revised one.
Got it.
There you go. All right, item 1.
Mr. Mayor, are you looking for individual, for motions on each item specifically, or?
Yeah, we just have a consensus so we can move on much faster. No, just consensus. If we're okay,
Oh, okay.
we vote on. There's no vote separately.
Unless Councilmember Dutton wants to add more.
I'm good.
Okay. Any?
I
Unless
gotta
you want to
try.
add more.
I wouldn't mind.
No, we're just talking about the car, that's it? Or are you going, are we lumping these together with the license plate reader and stuff?
Oh, just number 1 for now.
Okay, I'm
We're gonna go
okay.
one at a time, so it's
Okay.
gonna be faster for staff.
All right.
Okay, great.
Okay, so there's a consensus on number 1.
Great.
All right.
Second is to add automated license plate reader cameras, 5 of them, to cover all city entrances. $51,000.
I don't see any objection. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Wow.
There is not the upcoming budget cycle, but in this budget year, to add a public safety vehicle in the amount of $40,000 with budget savings.
Okay, so there's no impact on the next 2 years' budget.
Right, just this.
I think you'll get a consensus on that. All right, moving on. Number 4.
Number 4, 5, and 6, economic development items. They're sufficient budget allocations requested, so there's no real budget impact. First is to update or upgrade the town center blade sign at the northeast corner, Bellflower Boulevard and Belmont Street.
Okay. My only question here is, how will number 6 look like? No, that's
Illuminate
the
the trees and median.
The illumination.
illumination of trees and median.
I'll work with Public Works Director to come up with a design. So we don't have what
So
it
we don't
will
have
look like yet.
anything yet. Okay.
Well, let me ask you, are you interested in decorative lighting in the trees, or do you want uplighting on the trees, or some combination of both, so we can start from there, we're not fishing?
Well, I wasn't in the council because when we had the light illuminating Artesia, it didn't
That was a
work.
total
It didn't
failure.
work well.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it didn't work well. So it has to be something different than that.
Well, something that works, you know. It's a good concept.
Well, just, they can explore all.
Yeah.
Do we want lights in the trees too?
I cannot speak for Public Works, but I can say it's going to be harder to maintain.
Yeah,
Well,
why don't we
yeah,
just do
yeah.
the full
Cut 'em.
boat? Why don't we just do the full boat? We'll design it and look at the uplighting and the lights.
And come back to us with a plan.
At least maybe now, or put some outlets in there while they're
Right.
doing this landscaping.
Yeah.
That's what we've talked to the contractor about last week as well as this week, is changing the architectural design of the medians to incorporate running additional conduit there to supply a power source at each one of the trees.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing right now. There was no discussion about the uplight. Based on last week's conversations, everyone said they never worked, so that wasn't anything we were truly looking at. So what we're trying to figure out now is just the cost associated with getting power into the medians and at the base of each one of where the trees are going to be placed at. And then from there, we'll just, we'll do the lights similar to what we've done around here and string them up in a tree and plug them into the outlet at the base.
Okay. All right, just come back to us later on with more definitive plans. All right, very good. All right, Mr. Ray, number 7.
Number 7 is tree master plan. This is a work in progress item. Public Works is seeking grant opportunities, and looks like the grant types that they found includes also tree planting, so it's difficult to determine how much grant they may receive, but the funding other cities receive range from 162,000 low end to 850,000, but they're seeking grant opportunities.
Okay. Just for the benefit of my colleagues here, I passed on the information to staff today regarding the webinar that we missed last week. That was on the federal government has a plan to invest 1.5 billion for urban tree planting. So if we can tap into that resources for funding, I think it will be good. So I guess my question here is, we still need to pay for the master plan, correct?
The cities that we looked at who've received the grant awards through CAL FIRE the last 2 years, that was all for them to either update their existing plan or to create a new plan altogether. So the grant cycle right now, there is nothing funded. They anticipate funding to be made available after the fiscal year when the governor's budget is completed and approved for the state. Then they'll know how much money they're going to have to allocate towards the grant funding of urban tree master plans. So I spoke with the urban forester who's in charge of our area, and he said probably August, September is when they will know what kind of funding they're going to have available for the upcoming year and stuff.
Do you know if how much will it cost just to have a master plan without any planting, just the plan?
It'll depend on so if you can look at our existing inventory, say some cities don't have an inventory of all their trees, so perhaps the plan that they did included the man hours to go out and count every tree and identify the species. We have all that information already.
Okay.
So I truly don't know what it will cost until we can sit down with the consultant and start getting a price to create an urban tree master plan. But I would think, based on what we saw from the previous awards, we're going to be looking at $200,000, and hopefully, we can find it through a grant fund.
Just for the plan.
For the plan.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Because I was kind of thinking that would be a very good scenario if we can get grant funding for the plan, and then we can tap into the federal urban tree planting grant for the actual trees. Then we save a lot of money.
Do you want to put a placeholder in, Lynn?
Just for the plan.
Yeah, I think you can. I don't know how you would, fund, maybe just note it as, future grant fund.
Well, but here's my question. I guess the question is, if we don't, for whatever reason, get grant funding, do we still want to carry on with the tree master plan?
I'd like to say tree master plan.
Yeah. So, is $100,000 safe to put in as a placeholder?
I don't think so. Not based on what we've saw, what previous cities have done. I mean,
Let's say 250.
maybe 250.
250?
Fine.
Are you okay with setting aside 250 for, and hopefully we can get grant funding for the master
Right.
plan itself.
Yeah.
But
Correct.
at least it's in the budget.
But you don't know whether that's a matching program or always the government's gonna pay for it all, or we're gonna pay for it all? know the details of that?
I think what,
Len does.
from what I can tell from the grant program that Cal Fire did, was they award you the grant for you to put the master plan together, and along with you doing the master plan, you're agreeing to plant a specific number of trees in your community as part of the plan.
Okay.
So I think they kind of go hand in hand with each other. I haven't had the chance yet to look at the recording from the webinar. But you know, sometimes when those kind of funds become available, they're contingent upon you having a master plan
Right,
already.
yeah.
So we'll see where those ones go. I'll take a look at that probably tonight. But
Yes,
Would it
Councilmember
be
Dunn.
to budget for this, so should we do like 125 for each budget year?
I'm fine with that.
You know, that's 250. I mean, 'cause, you know, we're not gonna know anything to August to gear up and, you know, but, you know, take 125 from this budget year and the next. I'm just throwing it out there.
I guess that's an option, just in case we
It's
need.
easier.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier on the budget.
Yeah,
I'm
I
fine
think
with
that will
that,
work,
yeah.
because hopefully we can get the grant funding from Cal Fire anyway,
Correct.
so.
I have another question. If you
Oh, go
don't
ahead.
care. Have we ever had a master plan of anything? Or just a good inventory? Like
No,
your-
we have our inventory, and then we have a species plan by street. So that's kind of what we typically look at. Say Cornuta calls for crepe myrtles. So when we have to replace trees on Cornuta, we replace with crepe myrtles. We don't go plant a jacaranda or an Australian willow.
right.
So
You
we
wanna
try to
keep
keep
them the
we try to
species
keep the
even.
species evenly killed and stuff, yeah.
Because we've done somewhat mass plannings in the past over the
Yes.
last 30 years. Has it just been done by the seat of our pants, so to speak, for lack of better terms?
No, we tend to get small little grants, like WCA
Yeah,
will
okay,
make
oh,
us,
okay,
yeah,
got
they'll
it.
make us aware of a grant, and then we've done, I think in my time, we've probably planted close to 500 trees on a couple different occasions here in the city, out in our parks. So we do like it's part of like an Earth Day event, and we plant some trees, and
Were you able to do an inventory of what's missing?
I did, yeah, well, based off of what we have on the WCA record, yeah. So that's a little further along here, and
What I was getting at is, you know, Dan was counting in his neighborhood. I counted like 20 on my street missing. I knew there was a lot, but I
There's
had
a
no
lot, yeah.
idea. You know, so your $87,000 250 figure. We're gonna go through There's a lot of trees missing. I'm thinking.
the WCA count, and this is what I explained last week. That count right now is at 289. That's citywide, but we have to fill
289 what?
289 empty tree wells.
Citywide.
Empty tree wells. So yes, citywide.
In
So
front
that
of houses?
means, well, no. So I mean, in
wells
front
on
of-
On the
yeah.
arterials.
The arterials.
yeah, just
Okay, got it.
the
Okay.
tree wells.
Oh,
Correct.
I didn't count any of
So
those.
if
like,
somebody has,
Okay.
you know, a strip in front of in the parkway and the tree's missing, that's not necessarily considered a
Okay.
tree well. Yeah.
Got it.
So,
And I was counting just on the walk path between Alondra and the parking structure that had 21 empty tree wells or boxes or whatever.
Boxes.
Those concrete
Yep.
receptacles. And I never see them replaced. I know it was 11 before, now it's 21, but this has been going on for several years. So
I'm sorry.
yeah, I wondered whether or not, I think we're waiting, weren't you waiting to get a deal where you got them all done at a lesser price, doing them all at once? Wasn't that the agenda?
no.
No.
So, no, until a couple weeks ago when we were looking at doing this. So, I mean, in the past, we've really scaled back on the planting of trees just because of the drought issues. It's hard to put a new tree in the ground and then not water it. So,
Didn't, we used to have a tanker that would drive up to them and dump water on them? Is that not the case anymore?
not in my time here.
I'm not even sure you're allowed to do that anymore, the runoff issues.
Is that old school? Do you remember that vehicle, guys?
Yeah,
Or
oh,
might-
yeah.
Did I dream that?
No,
Yeah.
no, you didn't do it.
Yeah.
It
That was a long time
You
ago.
fill up the well and it don't run off.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
You know, you don't overfill it. It won't run off.
Thank you.
Yeah, the
and
truck was older than you.
Yeah, we had an old water truck here. It wasn't operational. It was surplused out.
Yeah,
Since
it
I've
was
been
a
here,
stake
so.
body truck that had a big tank on the back and had a nozzle out the side, and
Yeah, I
the
mean,
guy filled up the tree wells.
Yeah, we have water buffaloes. We have a couple of those around.
Mayor, I got a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So, over the years, because like neighbors and people I know that will take out a tree and we won't put one back because
They don't
they're
want it
told,
back.
they're, well, no, they want them.
Some went, don't.
Some
They're
do.
on a waiting list.
And
You gotta
some
wait
don't,
till the
some
next, when we budget for trees. I've been hearing this for a
And,
decade.
yeah,
Because
correct.
there's never no trees coming, and so I know that there's probably 5 to 10 people on my street alone, which is an extra long block, that have been waiting for tree for a long time.
Yeah, and again,
So that's not, we haven't inventoried any of that, what's on the waiting list.
no.
Or is there a waiting list?
No, there's,
there's a
yeah,
waiting list, okay.
there's people that
Okay.
request trees. Again,
Request
it's
trees.
hard
Yeah,
to go plant a tree in someone's
Yeah.
front yard and then tell them to put, 100 gallons of water on it
right,
a week
yeah.
when we're in the middle of drought and their neighbors next door are calling and complaining because they're wasting water. So we've been in a tough situation, which
Yeah.
dates all the way back to 2014, when all the drought stuff really started. Is it time to start getting after it? Absolutely. I'm all for it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm with you,
Thank you.
Councilmember Dan, because I think in the last couple of years it's really tough, especially because of the drought.
Mhm.
So,
So, since we're doing this and worrying about money, is there some kind of an apparatus we need to look into to water trees that we put in?
No,
And an employee to manage it? I mean, if we're ever gonna, in the future, that's what I'm getting at. If we gear up and we're gonna spend $250,000 on trees, we kinda need to juice them every once in a while, maybe?
well, I think especially during the first year of the trees.
Or a tanker in the back of a pickup truck or
yeah,
something, I don't know, yeah.
we'll look at doing that. Again, we have a water buffalo trailer that
Oh,
we've
okay.
used and stuff that we use. So
Oh,
How long's it
And-
been? When's the last time you used that?
what's that?
When's the last time you used that, the water buffalo trailer?
I
We got a water trailer, Dan.
Parks or something. Yeah.
We're gonna need a water trailer.
I didn't know the name, it was called a water buffalo.
Water buffalo.
Water buffalo.
So am I right to assume that once the tree is established, it doesn't need much watering anymore? Other than natural water, natural rain?
Pray to Mother Nature and hope it grows.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Because my thinking is it's very critical, especially the first year or two,
yes,
to really maintain the water. Otherwise, they will just die.
correct.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe that's something we can do once all these trees are newly planted.
Or only plant trees that have green lawns.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also another program that WCA offers too. We can look into this with them in detail. We can contract with them to come on out and they can do a watering. It depends on the frequency, but we can work those details out and I can get a more succinct number for the council, what all it will take, once we go through this planning of 250
okay.
trees.
All right, so for now, are we willing to spend $125,000 for the next 2 years
I
for a
like that
master
idea.
tree master plan?
I like that idea, but I'm looking at, what's the size of Maywood? And, Fullerton,
450,000,
what's the square footage of there? What's their,
that's their population.
population, and then what's their, compared to us, we're 6.2, right? I don't know if 125 is gonna be enough, especially after all that
No,
water
it's-
welling.
It's the plan.
Oh,
It's
just the plan.
It's just the plan.
Okay,
Yeah, no trees yet.
got it.
We're just kinda shooting in the dark.
All right, then.
Because we're hoping that we can get someone from the feds
Hey,
to
copy
get,
that.
to get the plans.
All right, no, I'm good with it. I think that's a good idea.
And also, we're hoping that we can get this 250 from CAL FIRE.
That'd be great, yeah.
Okay, so if we can get both, then we're
Yeah.
good to go.
Len, is there reclaimed water on the right-of-way, the walk right-of-way? I never.
Yes.
Is that, I've never seen is that sprinklers come on at night or something? I never really
Yeah.
see it irrigated.
Yeah, it irrigate,
All right.
usually early morning, yes.
All right, and that's the purple pipe,
Purple pipe,
pipe
correct.
water?
Yep.
Okay. Because
Just a kind of a follow-up question.
All right.
Can we use the water from the stormwater capture project to water the trees?
To water the trees where?
well, that's, the water over there is
From-
gonna water the
from
trees over
Carruthers
there?
Park.
Is that what you're trying
Well,
to?
because we have the tanker. if they can suck the
Oh,
water.
the water buffalo.
The water buffalo. Use the water buffalo to suck the water from the,
Yeah, you guys
From-
are going pretty far down the rabbit hole
Well-
right now. But yeah, I mean, we'll try to figure out.
because what I'm
anything we
getting
can
at
do,
is,
yeah.
because there was a question about the use of
Rainwater.
fresh water, drinking water
Correct.
to water the plants. I don't like that, you know. If we can use, those kind of water,
Yeah,
the stormwater
we'll,
water under the,
we'll look into it. You get into a whole nother issue when you're putting reclaimed water into a tank and
Oh, I
transporting it
see.
around. It's a big issue with Department of Public Health in the county. So
I see.
it's not as easy as just hooking.
Okay.
That's why we
Hooking
need
a
our
hose
own health
to it.
department.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, okay. All right, moving along. Okay. So we're good with number 7?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, number 8.
Number 8 is to replace the trees that were removed. Public Works identified 250 trees. It will be about $87,500.
That's for 250 trees.
That's based on the current tree planting rate through our agreement with WCA right now.
Okay.
And that's to put them in the wells.
Put them in the wells, correct?
Should we also be, Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Go ahead.
question regarding number 8, should we also be budgeting for maintenance then? For those, especially, I think, like the mayor said, the first 2 years, we're gonna need to make sure we're getting water to them.
Well, and that's what I mentioned earlier, is we'll talk to WCA and find out what all a maintenance program would entail for these 250 plants, whether it's just different fertilizations at different points, water frequency, and then we'll try to come back with a better calculation with a tighter number for the council
Okay.
Before it's adopted, yeah.
before it's adopted.
Right.
correct?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
When can you get that? Very soon, by next week, hopefully?
I'll send Rob an email
Okay.
tomorrow. Yeah.
All right.
Then we have a big project to talk about.
They'll talk.
Money.
All right. So are you good with number 8 plus the cost of maintenance that will come in later?
Yeah.
Right then?
Yeah, I was
Good.
just doing the math here. It seems for 250 trees, $87,000 at 350. Is that right? Is that the correct number?
That's about right.
Oh, okay. I'm doing the math here, long division, and a little light, but I'm agreeable.
All right, so you got number 8, Mr. Ree?
Yes.
Okay, number 9.
Number 9 is Durham Crosswalks at Bellflower and Alondra. Public Works would like to request $150,000 for the plan cost to repave and install the Durham.
So we have to redo that intersection in order to do the Duratherm.
And
So-
what are we gonna spend extra?
150?
So what are we're giving up a new intersection to do this improvement, correct?
Relatively new, that intersection's only a couple years old, yeah.
And what's the life expectancy?
15, 20 years on an intersection, so we're cutting it fairly short. And then what we would do is modify the existing design that's going on right now for Alondra Boulevard to incorporate that intersection in its totality. And we would just do a simple grind and overlay and then do the Duratherm product installation on top of it. So the design, the construction, and so forth, we're estimating to be about $150,000. That's to change the agreement with the designer to design that because it's not part of the original scope. It would be the addition to the work that the contractor does. And then the subcontracting for Duratherm, who's a separate company that comes out and does all the stamping and installation of the product.
I don't know. It's not broken. Do we need to fix it? It looks good.
Well, we wanted to, the idea is we wanted to match.
No, I know,
We're
but
also gonna approve black iron.
It's,
Yeah. But it's not if the 150,000 is the cost estimate, I'm guessing half of that is for the Duratherm process.
The Duratherm will be about close to almost 65, 70,000.
So you subtract that from the 150, it's not 150.
Okay, I thought, oh, I
You
get
see,
it
it's
then.
not just for the black asphalt. It's for the design, which is so we're not, it's costly, but it's not near as costly as you're thinking.
Okay, well then I can live with it, but I hate to throw
Yeah.
a 2-year-old intersection out just for aesthetics, is that, for 150? I could do it for less than that, and that's what you're telling me.
Yeah, it's gonna be less than that.
Okay, then I'm okay
A lot
then.
less than that. And then, if you wanna feel better, you can amortize the 2 years of it. Going on the next contract, it'll be all new.
When are we gonna do that, intersection where you've got the welcome Bellflower on the corner there with the going to market statue and the thing that's gonna go in the Union parking lot there?
16 weeks
That's
from.
underway right now.
All right, so wouldn't we try to do the projects to complete about the same time? Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, not at the
Okay.
same time. I don't think they're gonna line up time-wise.
Okay.
Maybe the same year.
Yeah, I think probably that's a little closer. I think maybe if we can get them all wrapped up by the end of this year, which would be the other item, which is the painting of the traffic signal poles and the gateway project and I don't know if the Duratherm will get installed by the end of this year, but relatively soon thereafter.
The gateway project will be finished between July, August, right? Time frame?
When that sign comes in.
Yep.
You're talking to custom sign, the fabricator, and.
I'm reading your weekly update.
Yeah, so we're still out pretty good on that one.
And since we segued into that, I gotta ask a question. Something came up at the Kiwanis Club with Union Bank, and the U.S. Bank bought them out. And U.S. Bank would like more parking spaces. And then I was talking to the president of Union Bank, and I go, Union Bank told us they didn't want no parking spaces. So U.S. Bank is optical of us giving them more parking out of that grass. Isn't that what I remember? Is it what you remember?
Well, we gave them 2, didn't we?
Did, Union Bank didn't want
Union
to.
Bank didn't
They
want it.
Didn't want no
They
parking.
didn't want to, yeah.
Right.
They didn't
No,
want
they
to.
don't
The
pay
new
for it.
design gave them 2 just
Yeah.
because, didn't
Yeah.
it?
Or U.S. Bank would pay for them. That's
U.S. Bank would like to,
would like them. So you may want to reach out to the president of Union Bank, because
Would they pay for the whole thing?
I don't
The
know.
whole project?
The whole
They
gateway
just want
project?
parking. They want some more parking spaces.
Okay.
And
But-
yeah,
Yeah,
No, we're not
how we give them,
Yeah.
we designed,
it's already designed.
Yeah.
it's
been designed
awarded.
already.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's
the
awarded.
project's
Okay,
been
well,
awarded,
then-
yeah.
Then I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, we already awarded the contract.
Yeah, the project's
Well,
awarded.
maybe they'll buy it. We're gonna have two more spaces in it for them, right, in that parking lot, or none?
I don't believe so. I think we're building on top of the
Okay.
grass area, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was asking the question, if they're willing to pay for the whole project, maybe we can hold off.
Well, I think that dog's already hunt.
Yeah.
I think we're
Sounds
already
like
down
it's
the
done.
road.
Yeah, well, they
I
signed the,
thought they didn't want it, and we're just gonna leave it grass, and to get scrape up grasses, if they're paying for 2 spaces, was cheap. I thought. But anyway, that's another day.
but hold on, but the contract's been signed already.
Correct.
And let's move on. Sorry about bringing it
So,
up.
all right. So we're good with number 9?
Yeah.
All right, Ray, good?
So the cost remains at 150,000?
150.
Okay, we're good.
All right, we're moving along well here. All right, number 10?
That's the traffic signal at Bellflower and Alondra, restoring the look. $100,000.
So we were looking at it last week, and I need some confirmation. So 2 of the poles at that location are marble lights. They're not steel poles.
Oh, they're not. Oh.
Yeah, so my option is to repaint all the existing and leave the marble lights as they are. So the marble lights have a couple traffic signal fixtures that are attached to them, so we would repaint those. So everything that was always blue out there will change off to black. The marble lights will still stay marble light. I can't repaint a marble light pole. So the only other option would be to replace the 2 marble lights with brand new poles. So I don't know if you guys want to go down that road, but I'm just making you aware of it because I'm not all the poles at that intersection will be painted. So I just want to make sure we understand the vision as it is right now.
So is it a marble light like our street
Trav,
lights downtown?
can you pull those up for me real quick?
Yeah.
It'll be the first 2. There you go.
Oh, the street light you're talking about.
Correct.
Oh, I see it hanging on, okay, it's hanging
Yeah,
on
but
there.
I have the ped crossing,
Oh.
and so we can paint the fixtures,
But there's no overhang, yeah,
but they're correct.
there's no.
Now, the one to the left,
Arm.
that's the one you'd paint.
The one to the left is the one that we would paint, correct. The one to the right, I can't paint because it's a Marblite. It's a textured,
Where's the other
People
Marblite?
hit 'em and they-
kitty corner. So go to the next
Oh,
slide.
kitty corner at the
Yeah,
gas
in
station.
front of the gas station, right there.
Yes, concrete, yeah. With tiny stones.
I'd say just
I
paint some
see.
stuff black
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
metal.
Yeah, I
and-
think let's go with it and we'll see how it looks.
Just go
Okay.
black.
And
Yeah.
and if, you know, if it's a failure, it's a failure.
Perfect.
I don't think it's gonna fail, it's just painting
No.
it black anyway, so it
We
will
can-
match.
Yeah, it's not gonna cost us money, and if we say it looks too hideous,
No,
we can
just do the metal.
put it in a budget a couple years from now.
Now, is this the 100,000, is that with the, without you painting, well, without changing out the concrete poles?
Yes.
This estimate?
Yeah, that's a
That's
very,
paint and skirts is 100,000.
no, that's them coming out and spending hours tediously sandblasting every single one of the metal poles and then applying a marine grade paint to it in a finish. So it's not a cheap process. It's a very labor intensive process. And I expect once we give them clear direction on what we're actually looking for, I expect it's probably gonna be close in that ballpark range in terms of the restoration of those existing metal poles. Then we're also gonna add skirting to the metal poles, so it's, you know, reflects what we have further down the boulevard. And then we would do the decorative light arms off of the metal poles. So,
What's the life expectancy of a paint job like you just described? Must be longer than just the Rust-Oleum.
yeah, I think it will hold up better than what we saw these poles hold up to.
Now, this is a Brian Lee deal, huh? So whatever,
Yeah, they, you know,
good for 20 years, or am I overexposing?
I could ask. I don't have a time frame on it. You know, it depends on.
Okay. No, it's a good investment then. How do you sandblast in the middle of the highway like that? Would they put a cover around it?
You put a giant cover around it and climb up in it and stuff. It's a pretty extensive process.
That's why it's very costly.
It may be cheaper to buy new ones. You know?
Oh, no, 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 no,
Ones
no.
run you about $500,000.
Yes. Don't- So how does it compare with, what do you call this, where they, like, bake the
Powder
paint?
coat?
Powder coat,
Powder
powder
coat?
coat.
I don't know that there is a comparison to it. I mean, once I have direction on how you guys want to go with this, I'll get more information on the product. It'll have to come back to the council. It'll have to go out as an RFP, and we'll have to, you know, select a bidder out in the open market to do the work.
So how many light poles are we gonna fix or repaint? 4? Is it 4?
One on each corner?
4,
4, okay.
correct. And their mast arms,
And all the skirts.
and then the light fixtures that are on the 2 existing marble light poles.
Okay.
Let me share something with you, because I think after the last meeting, I was talking to Lynn one other time, and I was mentioning it. Have you noticed where Johnny Rebs is, the Laurel Street overhang, how faded and blotchy it is? The coating on it has failed. You know, those
Okay,
arms,
yeah, okay.
you remember? And so I think this would be a good test to see how it comes back, where we can start, you know, repairing some of that stuff, because that was one of the first black iron things we've had in the town when we did that one way by Johnny Rebs. That's got to be 30 years old. And I'm thinking, if this coating works, we don't know how long it lasts until we try it. So I think it would be a good test on redoing some of the other stuff.
Was that 30 years old already? On Johnny Rebs?
I would
Johnny
think.
Rebs was there in 94, I know.
No, but when we did
Oh, no.
those.
Johnny Rebs was there before the one-way street. Before
Right.
Yeah.
So if you
When?
go 6 years, another 23, that's
Well,
30 years.
it's got to be
Joel says 20.
20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 20 years
Oh,
ago.
20 years,
Yeah, and
okay.
It's failed.
They
So it's
do
just-
look
And then you
battered.
have
Mm.
other things around town that's failed, and you know, the green light stanchions on the bike trail. You've seen how
They look
that's
tired.
there.
Right,
The green is not as perky as it was. It's more worn out, you know, that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's a good test for how stuff lasts, and if you get, if it was worth it or not.
So we'll try it and see what happens.
For my information, is our goal to have all the poles that touch the downtown be black?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Our discussion, my separate discussion with Lynn was yes, all the way to the Lakewood border.
I
So
just
here.
need a consensus.
It keeps
where
growing,
the
it keeps
downtown
growing.
is.
But our consensus at the last meeting, I think, as we talked about, we don't have, it's not on white paper or anything.
Right.
But I think our dialogue from then was eventually to get down to the Lakewood border.
Okay.
Eventually.
You know, because we actually budgeted, didn't we budget black iron, or we talked about black iron at Cedar and Bellflower, right?
The new, anything that I'm specking
Yeah.
out right now.
And then
on
we also
Bellflower
talked
is-
about the only galvanized left is at Park and Bellflower Boulevard. And that's in the budget to get done, regular budget, you know.
And so
Yeah,
would,
that-
would the
that'll-
That's
goal
already budgeted or something.
that's
eventually
part
be
of the
for
project.
all
Yeah, right.
intersections in the city or only downtown?
Just
Only
downtown
downtown,
for
just
now.
downtown.
Okay.
Otherwise, that's going to be a different set of funding.
Yeah.
When you get closer on your statistics, when we look at this just today, at the 100,000, you say it's $25,000 a pole. I'd like to
Mhm.
know, at some point, is it really truly $25,000 to sandblast and color and skirt
Okay.
a pole? You know, if you could get it down to, the only difference is whether or not it's got the mast or not, I suppose.
Correct.
So I guess you can come back with us later
Yeah,
on once
we've
it's
got time.
finished.
Yeah, when I have a more, I mean,
Yeah, when you get to
a
that
week,
point.
a week's not a lot of time to try to.
Oh, no,
you
no,
know, get some
after the
estimates and
project is done.
everything. Yeah,
That's
so
what-
we've placed the calls, we're talking to the people we have to talk to. They're giving us very rough and idle, numbers. But until they can come in and really put, pencil to paper on this thing, we won't have some accurate numbers. But I think in the next week or so, we will. We'll be a little more accurate on these budget.
But you can understand, as a layman, we look at $25,000 for a pole and think, shoot, I can paint my whole house for less than that, you know?
But it's the
You're
labor
not paying
though. It's the
prevailing
labor.
wage.
I know that, but it's still $25,000.
You're not designing it, you're not specing it.
Plus,
you're
and
not
then
paying
you have to
prevailing
hire,
wage.
we have to rent the equipment to bring it up.
They do, yeah.
Close
That's-
traffic.
That's all part of it.
Traffic control.
Mm-hmm. Prevailing wage.
I get it. It just seems
I'm just saying.
to paint a traffic component for 25 grand, just a little disconcerting, yeah. If it is, it is, you know.
Okay, so you're okay with that?
I'm okay. A little astounded, but I'm okay.
All right. Councilmember Sanchez, you're good with that? All right.
He just wants them on Cedar is all. You want them on Cedar Street down there, Cedar and Lakewood. Yeah, yeah, the homeless shelter.
All right, moving on.
Next item is 11,
11, yes.
is to purchase additional solar power radar feedback signs on Rosecrans between Clark and Bellflower.
No
That's
pictures, Trav.
$25,000.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good with that?
Yeah, there's no pictures for, those are real standard for
Okay.
us. Yeah, it's just a matter of having it figured out where we're gonna place them, and I got direction, Rosecrans, and then, I think Somerset was the other one you guys had looked at, so.
Yeah, how is the current radar working right now? Because we've installed one or two,
Yeah, they let people know when they're breaking the speed limit.
kind of flashing.
No, they just say, you're doing 85 and a 35.
Okay.
Are these the ones like the one on Clark that do the
Yeah.
flash? Okay.
I use them to check to make sure my speedometer is calibrated.
Does it?
Exactly.
Is it good? Right, is it good? Is it
Well, it's
working?
hard to get up at 80 on some of those streets.
Joel.
Just kidding.
Mr. Mayor,
Right,
on this
Councilmember
one,
Sanchez,
on this
go ahead.
item, I'd like to suggest that we, without identifying specific locations at this point in time, maybe add some budget to this to add a few more locations throughout the city. I think that might be,
How many other locations are you thinking?
I'll be
What
honest with you.
district?
Let's shoot for 6. How about that?
6.
Citywide, yeah. 6.2 square miles, I think 6.
So how many do we have so far?
Three or four installed, right? Counting Woodruff, the Woodruff Place bumped it up to 4. So we have 4 installed right now, plus the RFBs, which aren't the radar speed back, but they're the blinking pedestrian crossings. So we have another 3 of those right now. So if we're gonna go with 6, you're talking about 12 total units, because you can't, if you're putting one in for one direction, if you guys are telling me Rosecrans between
Right.
Clark
You
and
need 2 per
Bellflower, I
location.
need 2
Yeah,
per
it's-
location.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
So am I doing 3 locations for a total of 6, or am I doing 6 locations for a total of 12 lights?
I'm looking for 6 locations.
Okay.
Not identified yet.
6
But I think we budget
locations, so
for it.
that's gonna be 12
12 total. 12 total poles.
25 grant?
times,
No, it's 25 times 6.
It's like,
no,
There's 2.
yeah, for
That's
2.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so 25 times 6.
So 12 each.
So
12.5 each or something like that. Whatever.
Or 25,000 times 6.
Sure.
That's
That was the
150.
easiest math to do.
That's
yes.
150.
Divided by 2.
That's 150. I think it's reasonable.
Get 2 for 25,000.
Right.
6.
Yeah, but 6
yeah,
locations,
yeah.
so 150.
Save 1 life.
Uh,
So funding source.
Well, you got that grant thing going, Sonny.
general fund. We got the
No.
money. Hey, traffic calming was 3rd on our survey.
Where is it how is it funded?
General fund.
General fund.
No,
No?
Wouldn't
no, these are,
public safety grants cover that in the future?
these are,
Those are few and far between.
Oh,
It takes a
okay.
while to get through the whole process too, so.
these are not
If you were
general
looking, if,
funds.
We can take it out of the general fund though.
Yeah.
Right?
You can always do that, yeah.
You can always do that, but I'd rather use restricted funds.
Okay.
That's my take on it.
I'll let Tay do the work.
How much?
Tay, what do you think? Where can we find that money from?
I mean, we'll go through all our
Okay.
restricted funds, and if we have anything that's not yet allocated off, and it's eligible, then we'll expend those funds first before
Yeah.
we start dipping into the generals.
Why don't you cut them in
Well-
half, and I think you got a deal.
Cut in half?
Yeah.
Can you find 75?
We got
From
2
restricted-
here, and then add 4 to that, that's 6.
Where are the current ones that we have?
What-
I just know the most recent one we did was up on Woodruff Place. The other ones I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know.
There's one on Palm Street.
Yep.
Palm
There's one in
Street
Park,
one,
yeah.
Palm
yeah.
Park,
Remember that.
Palm Park, there's
Yeah.
one there.
Yep.
Okay,
Woodruff,
There's
So
2.
why don't we try 3 for now?
3?
They can find the restricted funding,
All right,
and then next.
I'll work with that.
If they can find more, then,
deal.
3, you're talking $3 $25,000.
right,
grants.
75.
So total would be 100,000.
Yeah,
Add 75 more.
so you total of 6 signs.
I'm good with that.
yeah, you guys are all looking at me. I'm good with whatever. Just
Okay,
let Tay
so
know.
Tay, can you report back to us once you do your
Looking-
homework and find the money? If you can find 75
We're
more.
only looking for 75 rather than 150.
He'll find it.
We can find 75.
Yeah.
It's, I think
Yeah.
the point is we'll
Oh.
put 75 in general fund addition, and then if we find grant money, we just supplant it, bank the reserve, and we move on.
Right, initially, can we just budget in the general fund, and then if we can find restricted funding, then we'll just allocate to the restricted funding?
Okay, all right. I guess we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want it in the budget, that's all.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you, council colleagues.
welcome, okay.
Okay, next item is taking the cafe lighting from Walnut to 91 Freeway. This requires discussion with Edison.
So we don't own the streetlights south of Walnut. So in order to do that, I'd have to get Edison to agree to allow us to do it. I don't even know if Edison's streetlight, our existing poles, we have plugs in the top of them. So we can plug into the plugs. Edison's poles do not have plugs. So I don't know how. I'm gonna have to speak with someone at Edison and see if anyone's tied into their power source before, or if something more extensive that has to be done as part of like perhaps the Bellflower project that we're gonna do from Flower down to the 91, where we may have to run conduits up the side of each one of those poles to get power up there. But again, with Edison's blessing, unfortunately.
I got a question. How many circuits per so many feet or 100 feet? Is there a theory or?
I'm sure an electrician knows that. I don't know.
Well, I didn't know. How many circuits are on what we existing, you think?
Every 2 poles.
Oh, every 2 poles?
Every 2
is a plug,
poles.
huh?
Well, all our poles have plugs on, but we're plugged in every 2
Every 2
poles.
poles, okay.
Just because of the length of the strands that we're running.
Okay, so should we hold up on this until we can link and talk with Edison?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to have a conversation
think-
with them and see if there's some kind of if they've done this with somebody else.
Okay,
If there's a way that we can make an arrangement to continue that look all the way down to the 91 freeway. Yeah,
okay.
certainly.
But if he gets the answer, no,
Mhm.
then we need to give him some leeway or have him come back, plug in a number for design and where to grab power from to put it
Yeah.
in, you know.
So the initial idea is, can I use your stuff to Edison? They say no, then I'll say, hey, can I run a conduit parallel up your pole to give myself a pole next to it? If they say no at that point, I really don't know where else we can go.
Other than digging the
We would
ground
have
up.
to maybe install our own separate standalone poles down there, and now you're talking,
That's gonna be
Between-
massive.
yeah, it's between our regular poles, Edison streetlight poles, and
Oh,
a vertical pole for a outlet.
they might not even let us hang lights on their poles, let
Correct.
alone plug it in.
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
I was just thinking electricity access,
Yeah.
but they're their poles.
Correct.
Yeah, and they're not too. I mean, last study session you talked about the sag between the poles.
Well, once you go
Is there-
south of the 91, where the street widens.
Oh, that's okay. That's where the problem is.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
where
got it.
there'd be too much sag. Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. So the further we go, the further problems we got.
Okay, I guess with that, we're gonna move on, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Come back and maybe
Let's come back
throw
with
if
some.
it goes to a no-go or whatever,
Yeah,
come back
so,
with
I
a
mean-
study number. Put them.
Right, exactly.
I think we would like to program some money for feasibility study or something as we
Yeah,
go
you-
or something.
I know you guys know John King, the city of Covina. He's Edison
Yeah,
Street.
yeah.
That guy, he's a great source of information. If they've done something like this out there, he'll know, and he'll let me know what the chances are we could do something like this. So
Okay, we're good with that?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Talking about south of 91 and the long strand, the medians we're putting in are gonna be electrified, because we just talked about trees.
Mhm.
Would it be possible to run the lights from the curb to the median and not have that big sag? You know, because now you're only going to half the highway. Just,
Oh,
yeah, but what am I?
put poles in is what you're saying.
I'm installing poles in the
no, I'm
median?
just asking, there's no outlets anywhere, from Walnut on, there is no outlets in any of the street poles. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, because we don't own them. Correct.
And so and there's no action, I mean, until you get the discussion with Jim, we're at a standstill.
Cancel that
Correct.
workaround is what he just came up with.
Yeah.
Came up with a workaround.
Well, but yeah, we have to put poles in the middle of the medians.
Yeah, that's a workaround in the future, is what he.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, we're putting power out there for the flora and the fauna.
Depends if they line up.
Well, again, I'm trying to picture in my mind's eye how much the medians are the entire length, you know. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
kind of wide, very wide, yeah.
Anyway, just food for
Okay.
thought.
All right, so we're gonna hold up on number 12 for now? Okay? Councilmember Sanchez?
Mr. Mayor, no, it sounded like, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Councilmember Dunn,
No,
but
he's-
it sounded
yeah.
like you wanted a placeholder,
Yeah, he was gonna do more
more homework
research
for a
Yeah.
placeholder
to come
Okay.
back for us at the next
final
meeting or whatever.
at the next
He
meeting.
has
Okay,
no idea right now.
very good.
All right, moving on to number 13.
Number 13 is refurbishment of the Sims Park Tot soccer area. That's $20,000 cost estimate.
Yeah, we talked to that as like an enhancement to the new soccer field, and we got
Yeah.
a smaller area for the children.
I guess my question, is the funding part of the new soccer field?
No, this is an added item that was discussed last study session, and it would be to put new surfacing into that little
Yeah,
tot area.
Right.
And it is not part of the bigger project.
Or it's not, okay.
It is not.
But how about the funding? Can the funding be part of the bigger project?
At this point, no.
No, okay.
No.
It's too late?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not part of that design.
Trying.
I will say though, the surfacing, I really like it. It's called playground surfacing, but it's synthetic turf.
Uh-huh.
And if it works, I think it's going to be a future alternative for us, because right now we have a combination of wood chips and some pour in place. We don't like the pour in place, it's super expensive. And this may be a good future alternative if we can get a good product into just that little kind of pilot program for it, so.
Okay.
How
All
many
right.
square foot would that encompass?
The turf required will be 765 square feet, and the area covered is 661 square feet. It's about 32 by 20 area within the current playground at Sims Park. Now, the biggest cost of all of that, and I just discussed this with Lynn, is the labor, because we have to go with prevailing wage.
So the covered area is 640 square feet, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Again, it seems like a lot of money for a two-car garage.
Yeah.
600.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yeah, go
I have a question here. PJ, does that include the restoration of the fence? And
No, so
or
that's
the-
already in progress,
already in the
and that's
budget?
being taken care of
Okay.
with building and grounds. So that's not included in that.
Yeah.
And it's not just laying a piece of carpet out there.
Right,
So
no, of course
it's
not.
playground surfacing, so it has the fall zones that's
Yeah.
required for playgrounds. So there'll be a base, just like if we were putting artificial turf on a soccer field.
I think it's a good enhancement. I like it.
And it's a good test to see if we can use it in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah, and again, I saw this product at one of our conferences, and I really liked it as a future alternative to the wood chips, which we have to constantly maintain and replenish. And then we know, because what we had to do at Palm Park, anytime we want to repair or replace the pour-in-place rubber, it's super expensive, and a small space will require you to redo almost the entire project. So we want to get away from that, and we have by going with only wood chips, but this could be a future alternative when surfacing comes up again for future playgrounds.
I'll do it.
Okay. Councilmember Dunn, are you okay? All right, you got it. Number 13 is good. Number 14, thank you so much for researching this, but it's not possible to do. Correct.
Access to the Riverview Park from Butterfly.
Yeah, that
Garden.
one's a little,
Okay.
Okay.
Let me speak on this, whatever. I understand what Lynn's saying. Got to work around. As a kid, I got many miles on the riverbed bike trail, and those bridges always weren't that high. And so I used to ride a bike down, and they used to engineer a little road off the side, and you'd go under the bridge at about 6 feet, 8 feet under on the embankment. They would cut it out, like our homeless cut out embankments, and make a little level there and concrete it, and then you can go up. So that's a way to get that. I'm not saying program it to do that, but I think we ought to maybe leave it in the park plan for future consideration, and maybe get, park money, county money, to do something like that in the future if they allow that anymore. But that's the way the bike trail was on several things. And 183rd was that way before they put the tunnel in.
Okay. So what you're saying here is, if I understand, so they're gonna create a dip here? Take out a
Yeah,
lot,
right there, yeah, exactly.
take this out,
Yeah, take
part
that
of
out,
this.
you'd go under, and you would,
make it about at least 8 feet clearance from this.
yeah, you
Okay.
come down, it's just
Yeah,
it's a turn off,
Yeah.
it's a ramp. It's a
Mhm,
ramp
right,
built
right.
onto that ledge.
yeah,
And
okay.
you would go, and it's a level ramp, and it's just as wide as this,
What's
You would
that?
just walk on the path.
You go to the other pictures, Trav. Go one more. Yeah, you can kind of see what the
Yeah, it's,
issues are there.
I don't remember it looking like that, but that's a mess.
Yeah.
When I saw that in the staff report, I went, oh,
Yeah.
what was I looking at?
Yeah, it was only 50 years ago.
That's gonna be a lot of work, right?
But,
Well,
you know,
it's not our work to do. I mean, if we came up with the funding for it, then maybe we might be able to work a project with Army Corps of Engineers and
Okay.
LA County Flood
Yeah.
Control. This is on
flood
their
control would
property.
have to,
Yeah, they're the ones
Yeah.
that would have to bless it and design it, and then we'd have to throw a chunk of money at it.
yeah. And that way, I think, just maybe, because the conservancy money and parks and rivers, they kind of, the rivers and something conservatory commit, there's maybe money for something like that to connect everything. When you put it as a grant and you're writing it up, that it connects
Right.
everything together, it's something that would be appetizing for whoever's.
Yeah, I
for
think
their
we're still
mission
gonna
statement.
work to make the connection between
Yeah.
Butterfly and Crothers North.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
that tie into getting under the riverbed
Right.
kind of ran
Yeah.
into some roadblocks
Yeah.
with it.
But I think we ought to leave that on the
Yeah, leave
No,
it
it's a
on.
good
and-
idea.
shelf for future
Right.
consideration and whatever.
And
something
also, I was
arises.
thinking, Ray, that sometimes SCAG has some money for that because it could be a bike trail.
Mhm.
So that's another possible source of funding.
But
Yeah,
I'm good with that, not,
Okay.
all right.
not programming any
For now.
cash for this or money for this. I'm just keep it in consideration.
Okay. So we'll put it on the radar. Okay. Number 15 is next.
Palm Street fencing, the hotel, backside of the
Oh,
hotel.
yeah, so we'd gone out and looked at this a little bit in detail to kind of get an idea of what we're doing. So, but behind the hotel, they've built their masonry wall. And then when you get to the cul-de-sac where Palm Park is, it just once again becomes a dilapidated fence that everyone's, torn through, cut, gone back and forth a million times. So we could look at trying to do some of this first, but my recommendation, we've already put in the budget money to handle the walkthrough area between the Motel 6 and the 91 freeway on Clark Avenue, right there.
okay.
That's a problem spot for us, as well as the small area on the north side of the 91 at Woodruff right there, where we always have pass-through problems. Because we're gonna utilize the fence that we did over at Constitution Park, I think those two locations represent, once they're installed, will represent a pretty good case of how well that fence is gonna hold up. Because if we started looking into a longer run, right now, that fence is priced out at 300 linear feet, or $300 per linear foot to run. So the run from all of Palm down to Passage is 1,700 linear feet. That's $300,000 fence that we don't even know is gonna work yet. So I would really like to try the fence out at off of Clark right there between the motel, because there's a lot of attempts and effort that get made to go into that
Okay.
that
Okay.
area. And if it proves to be durable, or damage tends to be minimal and it's fixable for us, then we could start incorporating this in several other spots. But the developer did a block wall behind the hotel, so the hotel property is good. It's just when you get into that cul-de-sac, Caltrans's chain link fence right there is just in shambles. You can
Right.
see it patched, and then you see fence for 20 feet, and then there's another opening. And what's that? Well, we already have it in the budget, the linear feet for Clark and all that. I don't want to add right now. I want to see how this fence holds up.
How the test
and then-
project works.
Yeah.
And,
and if it-
and how many linear feet is that? The test project?
what we have it at, Travis?
50, 60 feet maybe for both?
Len, does that include the other corners,
No, it does not.
the south? So you do need to increase your budget for that. For south of the 91. It'd be nice if it all matched. Fences are falling apart.
So the Okay, so the northwest corner of Clark and 91, behind the Motel 6, that's 150 linear feet. And then the northeast side of Woodruff at the 91 is 40 linear feet. So what we've put in the budget so far is 57,000 for a total of 190 linear feet of
190,
fence.
okay.
Yeah, so to dovetail off of what Councilmember Sanchez was saying, I have, Trav, can you flip through the next couple pages here? So that would be the southeast corner of the 91 and Clark, yeah, and that one is 85 linear feet. So that section would be about 25,000. And then go one more for me, Travis. And then that would be the northeast side of Clark, and that's 70 linear feet at 22,500.
So that's all in the budget already, those
No.
four locations?
No.
Or just two locations?
Just 2 locations.
The homeless areas.
So how much again for the, 22,500, and then the other one?
Was 20, go back one,
The
Travis.
south, the
25.5.
southeast, 25.5?
So was there a fence on the other side that's been removed? 'Cause
No, it's just chain link that gets
Or maybe I'm
cut.
looking at the wrong side. Go back to the other slide. I'm looking to, you're thinking about on the left-hand side?
On the right-hand side.
The right-hand
Yeah,
side?
where it
Is
butts
there a
up
fence there that I'm not seeing?
There's a fence
There's a
there.
fence there,
Yeah, you can see the poles.
Chain link fence,
So they cut it instead of walking
there's chain link fence.
50 feet over, huh? They can walk around it.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking hard.
Well, that's
It's
the,
hard to see, because it's very low.
yeah, that's the difficult part with the fencing, right?
Yeah.
You can install 3/4 inch rebar, and they take a bottle jack from, $9 bottle jack from Harbor
Harbor
Freight,
Freight,
and
yeah.
kink, 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 and they open
You're done.
rebar right up. Fencing is not the solution all the time. But if it's easy, like what we like about the Constitution fence is they're done in panel sections. So if one gets damaged, it gets cut, because it will, and there's a gaping hole in it, and there will be, we can simply switch out the panel. And how quickly we can do that, we haven't really had to do it yet, but it might become a little easier for us just to simply come in, take out the old damaged panel and slap a new one in, and
Okay.
then the next day they'll start cutting on it again. But
But
Well,
it takes
I mean,
long,
it's
not
just
only
a-
that, but it takes longer for them to cut through the green one.
no,
It doesn't? It's the
No.
same length,
It's
same length of time,
minutes.
or same time frame?
minutes.
Really?
With all the power
Yeah.
tools now, oh my goodness.
They got just a cutoff wheel.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Battery
what-
operated cutoff wheel.
That was our biggest thing.
They're
when
so
we get to
powerful.
Locks and everything.
The wire theft.
All right.
Is they come out with these, the battery powered grinders, and they get through stuff in a matter of seconds.
So would the fence follow the same existing
Yes.
here or go out here?
Yeah, I would have to work with Caltrans.
We would take the chain link down and,
Yeah, the measurements I've done is to replace exactly what chain link is there.
gotcha, and we just remove that, so, okay.
Correct.
It wouldn't look as good if you put it behind it.
So once you talk with them, it could be more.
I've
More
already
linear
talked to Caltrans a little bit
Uh-huh,
about doing this, and they're open to it. I haven't gotten them to sign any
okay.
documents or anything, but they're open. They've looked at we've gone out, we've looked at the Constitution fence together. The maintenance people seem to like it. They have the same, reservations I have about the durability and and as a result of that, who has to do the maintenance, but we would take ownership of all the maintenance. What they didn't want to do is for us to put a fence up and then start calling them every week
Yeah.
to fix the hole that's cut in it.
Well, they should be happy because we're taking on their responsibility, basically.
And I think that's why they were leaning towards, you know, liking this idea,
Yeah,
because
okay.
we were gonna take ownership of it.
Okay, so are we okay with adding more money, 48,000, is that right?
An additional,
Additional 48,000?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, Ray, good? All right, good.
I've got another question on Palm Street Park. You know, we have those, I don't know what to call them, but they're blue and they're high on poles and they're kind of
The
a
ribbons?
swirl.
The
Is there-
ribbon?
Yeah,
Ribbons, right.
yeah, ribbons and
Archery,
wave.
They look a little tired.
Hold on, the name for that is Sky Ribbon.
sky ribbon.
All right, now the sky
That's
ribbons,
Brian Lee's.
I think they need a little maintenance. They're,
Oh,
They need to
absolutely.
be, yeah,
Absolutely.
you see what I see?
Yeah,
They're
oh,
kind
yeah.
of
well, they're
faded.
probably powder coated or something, because they last a
Or
long
maybe
time.
you buff them out. I don't know what you do with them.
We'll figure it out.
But they're, luckily, they're high enough that they have never been exhibiting, that I saw, graffiti. I think that's too much.
Yeah, I think they escaped that.
And they escaped that, which
Yeah.
is a minor miracle.
Knock on wood, because it's high and it's narrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So it
think,
doesn't-
right?
Now tomorrow morning it'll be full. But, so I'd like you to consider whether or not we can make them look a little more sharp.
Certainly.
Okay. that's
Mr.
all I-
Mayor,
Yeah, go
I'd
ahead.
like to, Travis, can you bring up the other picture, the south side of the, since
The
we have
red
this
one.
on here?
Other way, Travis. There you go.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Well, actually, this one and the last one, this is right away, Caltrans right away?
Yes.
The Bellflower exits, are those ours right aways or are those still Caltrans?
Caltrans.
Do we ever have a vision for this one and Lakewood to match the Bellflower location so that all three exits that come onto Bellflower?
The Bellflower locations were, you know, they're quite a headache. So, because you have to go through Caltrans approval to get all that done, then they're very limited in what they want to offer in terms of decorations. Can it be done? Yeah, we did it at Bellflower Boulevard. What can it be done in 6-7 years? I truly don't know, because that seemed about how long it took for Bellflower Boulevard to get done.
For the Lakewood entrance or exits, we receive funding for those, right, for beautification? Do we plan on doing that?
We received funding.
When we
From who?
took over the Lakewood court, that Lakewood
No,
intersection?
No, we didn't take over that intersection. Our jurisdiction ended at Park.
Mm.
Yeah.
Got it. So we don't own anything south of
Between-
Park?
Between Park and basically, what was the old truck place right there?
J&J.
J&J?
Yeah.
We're not responsible for that.
We don't own it. We have no say in how they maintain it. We've been on plenty of calls, right?
yeah,
Complaining
yeah.
them
No, I know.
about the
Yeah,
way they need to
we've
maintain
both
it,
been on
but
them,
it
yeah.
is what it is, yeah.
So we didn't buy Lakewood Boulevard from
I
city
guess
limit
not.
to city limit?
We did, but it excludes the.
It excludes the
the state
highway.
highway.
Caltrans.
boundary, The
Caltrans
Caltrans
still
highway.
owns
Caltrans
Caltrans
jurisdiction. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how, I wasn't on council when the Bellflower Boulevard improvements came up and were done. But I think if it takes that long, where it's a 6-year, 7-year, 10-year project, I think we should start looking at considering all those two exits and entrances to the freeway for beautification and improvement. Because they look, first appearances, it just
Right.
speaks
First
volumes.
impression,
First
yeah.
impressions.
And then, do you recall, I think it was grant funded, right,
Yes.
on Bellflower Boulevard, so.
The first one, which was the north side,
Mhm.
I wasn't, it was before I got here, so I'm not sure how
You
that
did,
went.
you did the south side,
I,
right?
we did the south
Right.
side, correct.
Yeah.
And that was all tied in with the widening.
So not necessarily a budget item, but maybe we start looking at grants or we prioritize the improvements to both of these entrances and
I guess we
exits.
can look into funding, the same
The
funding.
best bet is to get a plan put together in terms of a concept, and then you gotta get the state to buy off on the
Of
concept.
course.
And
So
then you start going for your funding based on what your concept is.
can you give us some numbers for that plan creation for the next budget meeting? Would that be possible?
So what are we looking for? Lakewood?
Might as well do them
Both.
both, Lakewood
Yeah,
and Clark.
and Clark.
Lakewood and Clark?
Yeah, it
Yes.
takes just as long to get all entitlements as
Yep.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure that there
Both.
wasn't another. No, probably a couple $100,000. Yeah, for a designer to come up with an idea that will vet out with
$500,000?
Caltrans. Yeah.
I hope not.
What's that?
He said $500,000, I hope not. So we can wait until the next meeting anyway.
That'll be the construction documents.
Right.
The Design concept would be a couple $100,000. So.
Scoops.
That's just the plan. I thought
That's
we
just
did the
the
whole
plan.
project for that.
No. Well,
Those were the days, Dan.
I feel like I.
All right, so we'll wait for the cost for the plan, and
Yeah,
then
I'll,
we'll,
I'll work with a couple different, we'll go back to who we used last time and try to look at the hours that they put in to come up with their design concept for Bellflower Boulevard. We'll extrapolate it out to modern day dollar figures and hours and see if we can get in the ballpark for them to come up with a design concept.
so if we're looking at Park, are we just, Clark, we'll just be talking about, the east side?
Yes.
Because the west side is Palm State Park
Yes.
already,
Yes,
Right.
and then the north of that is the motel.
right.
correct.
Can we do something about that, or it's almost like
Something about the motel.
that side of the motel?
We're gonna put that fence up.
Other than that,
What else will you need?
I don't know. If we can reduce the amount of camping, and then also
You thinking
like those
never mind, I won't say that.
like the pavers on the Bellflower side. Will that help?
I mean, we try anything. We don't have a lot of campers on the Bellflower side, but it's kind of open and everything. That one, unfortunately, it's tucked behind that hotel. It's a tight little
Right,
area.
exactly.
It's tucked. We can do some kind of a concrete treatment at the base of it, but in the end, it's almost like a dark alley.
I say we include them both, and I think that's its own item.
Let's take a look at that
Yeah,
also.
part of it, yeah. Because
If
camping,
we can.
because Joel's team goes in there, I'd say 4 times a week.
Oh, easily, yeah.
So the more we can do
You're
about
being
that,
too modest.
I think we're gonna be better off.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
We can certainly
you might as
explore
well.
that.
Because we're doing all the four areas of the Lakewood and the freeway, right?
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Mayor, one question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, Lynn, on this chain link fences here, I noticed we don't have any at the Bellflower Boulevard locations.
Correct.
Yeah. What's the difference is because we kind of have
Well, we redesigned it.
The
I mean,
maintenance.
so this would,
we can't just remove it?
in theory, this would all just go away. If we came up with a design concept similar to Bellflower Boulevard, the chain link, that
Would
slope,
be gone,
that would
yeah.
all look different.
But because there's fence there, we have to replace it with fence.
Not
So, yeah.
necessarily. We didn't replace Bellflower Boulevard with fence everywhere.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I was thinking if we just removed it and use design and put that pretty fence and test it somewhere else or something.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
I'm okay with that on both sides. I
not
just
too much
want it to
hassle.
not
Yeah.
look the way it looks.
Yeah.
That's all. So it's either we get
I
rid
don't
of
know,
it.
So what you're saying is, not put the wrought iron fence for now.
Right, especially if we're gonna look at actually, doing the plan and pushing forward to beautifying. We don't need to spend the money to build the
I guess
fence.
Well, I'm
Unless
okay with
it's-
that, because we can save money.
But I
by doing
want
that.
it, I would like for it to be removed so that it doesn't look like it does,
No, just, sorry, I looked at it too long.
No, it's
No, I think that's a,
Oh, that's a
I'd
good idea.
That's a
I'd
great
rather
idea.
work
Remove
this
it.
all
Yeah,
out-
why
all
not?
out
You don't
right
have to
now
fix no
than
fence if it's
6
gone,
months
but
from now.
Right.
would Caltrans allow us to just remove
No.
it? It's not doing anything.
No,
They have to remove them themselves, right?
they won't. Yeah, I can't go pull that and say, oh, sorry.
would they even know? Exactly, they won't know.
The homeless
Oh.
took it.
Yeah, the homeless took it.
I can use that.
I mean, they're cutting it up anyways. They want the metal.
No.
Well, time out, you're being recorded.
Oh, that's
Or,
right.
or would you even think, or would you think they would allow to remove it?
I think we showed them, hey, look, we want to do something with similar, we
Yeah.
did the Bellflower Boulevard, and it's
Yeah,
going to alleviate
Maintenance.
you guys having to do it, because we're going to start
Yeah.
maintaining it, because that's the deal we had to make down there.
Mhm.
I think they're going to go, yeah, no problem. But that's their maintenance end. Then you
Yeah.
start talking
Yeah.
to the yahoos up at the state, and you gotta start walking through all their design process, and that's where it goes for years and years, and,
So the maintenance guys, you're just
Okay.
swapping tit for tat.
yeah,
And
maintenance
then
guys are
maintenance
like,
guys,
this
no
is
problem.
awesome. Yeah,
Okay, so it doesn't, okay, do you understand what he said?
Yeah.
No, virtually no paperwork, just replacing it from replacing the fence.
well, no,
Paperwork, remove it.
that's not what I'm saying.
No.
To do any kind of work like that on their property is gonna require paperwork.
So both are the same
What I'm
process.
saying is with their local maintenance people,
Mm-hmm.
we have a tendency to agree on ideas. But then when you get up to the bureaucratic end of it with them at the state, they're like, yeah, sounds great, and we'll have it ready for you in 3 years. So it's just, there's a lot of red tape to it, and it takes a long time.
Here,
Okay.
I have a solution, Mr. Mayor.
I think, well,
Oh, go ahead.
what I'm thinking is, why don't we just hold off adding 48,000 for this wrought iron fence, and then use that money for the study?
Well, okay, that's one possibility, but the other one, I would say, let's leave that in the budget and see if we can work it out so they can just remove that fence. If we can't remove that fence, and if it's gonna take 8 years or 9 years to get something done, I don't want that sitting there for 9 years. So then let's just go ahead and do the fencing for now, and then in 10 years, when we get the thing approved, then
Will it take that long, 10 years?
that's what it sounded like.
10 years never came out of my mouth.
You
I
said
said
6,
7 or
7.
8,
I think
I
we-
said 6 or 7.
I'm giving you
That's
a
how long
4-year
Bellflower
window.
Boulevard
So
took. I mean,
how
I'm just,
long, we still don't have any artwork on Lakewood Boulevard, Jim.
Yeah.
So how long, or is it, you remember? And that's been going on 2 years, 3 years?
yeah, but they.
So I think adding a 4-year window
You wanna
block.
jump in on that? Because
Help me
How,
here.
how long have we been trying to get the easement to paint the
At that point, the fence
Lakewood
gets-
Boulevard?
That's been over like 2 years, and
I know
we just got final approval, and maybe that we're hoping that mural will start in midsummer.
Okay.
Okay,
So
all
did you
right.
just hear that?
Yeah, 2 years.
2 years to get art approval.
The desert.
Okay,
Exactly.
hold
That's
on,
what
hold
Lynn's
on.
talking
Let-
about.
Let's just refocus here. Okay, are we okay with just putting additional 48,000 and then continue with the study
Yes.
on those 4 intersections? Okay,
Right, but we're still getting the fencing
If
next to the
needed.
motel and on Woodruff.
right. So
Okay,
we're adding
because
the
that's imperative. I think it's the best
$48,000.
investment we've
Right.
made.
Right, okay,
And we're adding the 40,000 for the south side
and the north side.
and the north side. And we're gonna hope to try to avoid it if we can, but staff will determine that.
You're okay with that, Victor, huh?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, 'cause
I don't
it's-
think there's
it
no
does
way
need
of
attention, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
hold on, but I don't think there's no way avoiding the wrought iron fence because it's gonna take much longer anyway. So it's almost a done deal. We need to put the wrought iron fence here in the first place.
Okay.
But I don't want to sacrifice the encamped areas.
Not at all.
That's something we can do right away and alleviate some of the problems with the areas that are being compromised by the motel and over
Right,
there, yeah.
the fencing is gonna go up.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I don't want that to go away.
And then the study is
Yeah.
gonna be coming up. You're gonna come back to us with a proposal.
from a consultant.
With a
that would-
consultant.
that put a design together.
Right, exactly.
For both the.
And once we have the
Clark.
design, we're gonna look for grant funding eventually.
Correct.
Okay? So that's the plan. Are you okay with that? Ray? Okay, good.
So the total funding is 48,000?
Yes, additional.
Okay.
Because there's already 190, right, in the budget?
Okay.
Okay. That's good,
190.
Len?
No, there's 57 in the budget. Oh,
Additional 48. You get 150 and the 40?
yeah. What we originally have in the budget is 57,000, and you guys are now saying to add the 44.
48. 48.
48.
25.5 and then 22.5.
Makes 100.
And that's the number.
Yeah, 5,000.
That was the number shown here, right? 25,500? And the other one is 22.5. I saw it.
25.
Okay, just add 48,000.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, next item.
All
6.
right. Traffic calming measure implementation,
Yeah, just a note to set up a study session.
study session, okay? And there's no budget for,
Number. Number 17 is,
number 17.
yes, add additional $50,000 funding to Park Master Plan to add repurposing of the Carpenter House Museum.
So this will increase the park master plan budget from 150 to 200,000.
Yes.
All right, any question of Mr. Milana?
So PJ, explain to the council your ideas about Carruthers Park and the Carpenter Museum.
Yeah, so we're currently reviewing proposals for the RFP. So we just got the proposals in. The $150,000 for the master plan is a 2020 number so that amount is rolling over. So we currently have $150,000 budgeted. And what we want to do, there was discussion at the last study session about the Carpenter House Museum, specifically just the programming being underutilized for what we have in there. So what I suggested is that we roll into the Parks Master Plan, since we're already evaluating all the programs, all the facilities that we offer in the city, what we currently do, what our mix is, and what we want to do in the future. And as we go through the interview process with the proposers, I'm going to really emphasize the Carpenter House Museum and pick their brains on how we can go through the consulting process of the Parks Master Plan and come up with some future utilization, better utilization of the Carpenter House Museum. So the additional $50,000 is in there just to, as we review the proposals and go through the interviews to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck as we add that element to it.
And Ray, remember last meeting, we talked about putting some sort of a patio or something behind that house? And if you look at our other parks, Sims and Thompson, we have shelters there. And PJ reminded me, at one point, we did have kind of a shelter idea and a fire ring over there near the back of the park. And
Years
that's
ago,
been
yes,
removed.
in the southwest corner of the park, right next to the bike trail, there used to be a picnic shelter with gas stoves in it that you could rent out, as well as there was a fire pit
And some bathrooms.
and there were some restrooms.
Right.
Over time, all those elements got removed. A lot of them, it was because they were inviting undesirable activities at them. So that was years and years ago.
But if he were to have someone look at the structure that we have there, I think we already allocated $80,000 in the budget to roof it and clean up the exterior, and maybe we'll have to do a little additional funding to try to put something on the back end that would be available to rent.
Yeah. If we could come up with some kind of concept or whatever, we can always turn it over, another function, another venue, not a function, another venue for our caterer in town.
Right.
Add it to their contract, and maybe they can draw in some venue, something to use it, it's just so underutilized. It's just we're maintaining something that we don't ever get used.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. It's
Right, and I think that's why we want to kind of rely on these consultants and professionals to look at that, because there's also the element of the actual assets that are inside the museum, the historical assets, the historical society, the nonprofit organization that actually runs the museum operations or lack thereof right now.
Right.
So I think all of that needs to be evaluated, and also what the potential market is for that venue, depending on, so I think we leave it up to them and let them assess it and provide some options for us to look at, through the master plan.
And if the master plan or someone comes up with an idea with it, what that look at it, because we technically, I think our only curator would be Larry Weage and volunteering his time. I don't know anybody else other than staff. There's no succession for curators to manage that or whatever. So we got to do something.
Right, and I do want to mention the master plan includes several stakeholder meetings, including meetings with the city council for your input, meetings with the commission, and meetings with the community. So that's definitely going to be a time where we can brainstorm different ideas, possibilities that the consultant will take in, and then, as they produce the final comprehensive Parks and Recreation master plan, they'll have some good ideas for us.
Did the Mayfair kids ever get in there, digitize the documents in there, or is that still hanging fire?
I believe it's ongoing, and they've been
Have they been in there?
They've been in there a few times.
Okay.
So Ray, are we envisioning like, make the patio more of enclosed or still open?
I have no, all options are open. My goal is either, if we're gonna, use it, make it something greater than what it is, or, right now we're maintaining something that don't get used at all.
Right.
I think we'd all agree to that. I mean, is it open, like, I think we got it's open by invitation now only, I think. But if we would, if the park thinks they'd do something with it, we could, put in more of a, outside space, maybe, like some of that cafe lighting over at outside space or something that somebody can use it for birthday parties. It can be a facility to, rent the outside area of it. I don't know. I'm not at a,
What I would,
I have no idea what the vision is for that,
I'm
but
just
it's got to be something better than what's happening now.
Yeah, I'm trying to balance accessibility
Either,
versus,
yeah, I mean, if it has a value, let's try to find the value, because I don't know if there's value there. I really don't.
I was kind of picturing maybe it's overkill with something not unlike what Ricky's got behind their restaurant, where you have enclosed area if you want it, or open it up if you
Right,
want.
yeah, something like that, yeah. Or, I don't know, yeah. Yeah,
It's a,
Yeah, we'll increase the Historical Society's
But I think-
budget. Yeah.
I think PJ's knows, he understands,
well,
it's a very underutilized facility. It's,
I mean-
I mean, I'm thinking, I might get a little harsh here. If we don't do anything with it, we might as well just scrape it.
Well,
I
you know
mean-
what, with that, on that note, can I say, to be honest with you, we're spending 80 grand on repairs of it, right? Is that plus another 50 now for this? I think we just scrape it.
Yeah, I mean, at least we'll find out in
Well, we're gonna
Well-
spend 50 grand to figure out if we're gonna scrape it.
well,
I'm telling you what, my generation's not going in there.
Yeah.
And the ones coming afterwards, they're not going in there.
Okay.
I say we digitize the thing,
and put it in the,
do something cool somewhere else, something small.
I was never this shitty with your park.
Look, if you guys want to say, I'm just saying.
I'm telling you, if you try to remove that building, you're gonna have 30 people
Yeah.
in here standing here.
No, I'm not saying don't remove it, but I'm just saying, I don't know if we.
well,
I'm gonna have to wait another generation if you're gonna remove that.
okay, time out. Why don't we wait for the, park master plan study, okay?
Or-
Before we
or-
make any decision.
Or some ideas.
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
Well,
and
just- hold
there's
on.
several
Hold
options.
on.
Yes.
Just like what you said, there's gonna be a lot of stakeholder meetings, so we'll have our opportunity to say our input, so why don't we wait for that? Okay,
Great idea.
I was too
Okay.
blunt, huh? Okay, fine.
okay,
Yeah. Make it look like Chino Prison, like yours.
all right.
It looks like a prison right now.
Did you take that note, city clerk, about the prison? Okay, all right. So let's focus on the budget for now. So are we okay with spending $200,000? Oh, no. Are you okay with spending $200,000 for the park master plan study?
And that's not gonna
No, it's
that's not just this park, it's us.
It's
the whole-
50,000.
The whole thing? No,
It's
the
50,000.
total one, 200,000 is the budget.
Right, so we're adding 50,000
50.
Adding 50.
for the,
We're adding 50.
Yeah, adding 50.
For
But I'm looking at
the,
but I'm looking at the big picture, it's $200,000 for the whole
Right.
plan.
I'm okay with it.
and we're adding 50,000 specifically for the
It was
Carpenter
150,
house.
now
Yeah.
we're going to 50.
That seems a bit expensive.
No, we're not. It's to give us flexibility as we're going through the proposals.
So you want cushion in your budget?
Correct, right
Okay,
now.
fair
So
enough. Okay.
ideally, we're not spending that all, but it's not just for that element.
Got it. Oh, I see,
Yeah.
I see.
And he's using my idea to get extra money.
Well, might as well put him in there then. It could be his office.
Yeah, PJ, we put your office in the Carpenter house.
Okay, Councilmember Dan, are you okay with the $200,000 total? That includes the
Yeah.
additional $50,000. Okay, you're
Yes,
good?
yes.
You good? All right. There you have it.
Number 18 is to increase the general fund contingency reserve to $10 million from the current $8 million.
Okay, we're just shifting $2 million more.
Yes,
There's no downside.
right.
It's just set aside.
Yes, set
All right.
aside, yes. And if there's no.
The way we've been spending money here today, is we can afford it?
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hold on. For taste benefit, I did the calculation, we're good. No, it's only set aside. We're not spending this
we're not
money.
spending,
We're not
it's just
spending.
set
We're
aside.
setting aside. We're
Set
setting
aside, set aside.
Making it part of the
All right, okay, I
contingency
think we have a
reserve.
consensus for number 18.
Yes.
Yes.
Number 19 is to set aside $5 million in the general fund balance for property acquisition. Currently, we have $1.9 million of property purchases from the past. So this is to add $3.1 million and hold it as a set aside for future property acquisitions. So the total is $5 million in the general fund.
No, hold on. So in the chart here, we have $1.5 million, right?
$1.9 million.
Oh, 1.9, and then we have a property of
Right.
1.7,
So $1.9 million, $1.7 million for
And
the
then one-
former Bank of the West property.
and then 175.
Right.
So that's
making it
3.2.
The rounding.
Yeah, I know.
1.9,
So
3.1.
3.2 total, is that right? So what I'm
1.7
suggesting,
and 175, that's $1.9 million.
okay, so what I'm suggesting is just make the whole thing 5 million total, not additional cash of 5 million.
Additional cash
So
would
the whole
be,
general fund for acquisition will be 5 million, including the properties that the city owns.
yes. So additional just cash
Right.
set aside is $3.1 million.
Or 1.8.
1.9 is current value of the property purchased in the past.
Right, and then 1.9 cash. Is that right?
No,
oh,
1.9
that
is
includes
the
already.
property purchased in the past.
Oh, so that includes so the 1.9 includes the 1.7 and then the 175?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So if we want to augment that to $5 million, then we have to infuse it with $3.1 million of cash.
And then how
That's
much
a-
money, how much funds do we have for the
Public projects fund.
property acquisition?
Yes, the Public Projects Fund. 2 years ago, council directed staff to transfer $3 million for property acquisition in the Public Projects Fund. So with that funding, we bought the Shoe Kingdom property for $1.2 million. So $3 million minus $1.2 million, we have $1.8 million cash set aside in the Public Projects Fund.
Okay.
So it's in two separate funds.
So how much, I don't want to touch that. I just want to focus on the general fund, how much we can set aside, because we may have opportunity to buy additional property. So I'm not saying that we're going to spend money.
Public Projects Fund, similar to general fund, but accounting-wise, they are separate funds, but the council has full discretion. Right, the
They're all general
original
fund.
transfer was from general fund, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get
He
the
wants 5
5.
million in the general fund.
If you
So-
want
so-
$5 million in the general fund,
He wants,
So
he doesn't
basically,
care where you put it. So put it in whatever fund you want. He just wants the total available to be 5 million.
so we have $3 million set aside in the Public Projects Fund.
We don't
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't account that.
We don't count that.
We don't
The
wanna
separate
count
5.
Leave that alone.
Leave that alone.
So we'll have more than 5 million if we add that.
Yes.
right, exactly.
Right, right now, we have $1.9 million.
We don't want to count that either.
Right. So do you want $3.1 million cash infused, or do you want $5 million cash
No,
infused?
3.1. So it becomes 5 million.
The 3.1 plus
Plus the
Plus the
1.9 that the properties we own.
that we're owning, okay.
So once we sell them, it goes back to the
Back
general
in.
fund. So it becomes
So you wanna
back to
make-
the 5.
You want to keep property, equity, and cash to raise it to 5
Yeah,
million.
to 5 million.
I thought, the way I read this, I thought you wanted 5 million.
No. That's too much. That's
Okay.
too much, I think.
No, is it though?
I mean, if we have the money, I would rather
It
have
might
5
be,
million
remember,
additional.
if we don't do a project ourselves, any money, any land that you're putting away, you're gonna try to flip it for economic development use, you're probably gonna run into a Surplus Lands Act issue, so it doesn't, there's not a lot of percentage in throwing a lot of money in that unless we have projects that
Right,
want to get to.
exactly, yeah, exactly.
They can always,
I'm good with 3.1.
We can always,
the
we
budget
can
and
always,
find it.
yeah, exactly, at this point, anyway. So otherwise, all this money is gonna be gone.
Okay.
So are you okay with adding 3.1 million?
Yes.
To make it the 5.
So starting next fiscal year, we'll show $5 million total.
Total.
As,
Including the properties that we
yes,
own?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, year one,
yes,
year one.
yes.
Are you okay with that, Ray?
Yep.
I'm good with that.
We're good? All right. So, increase
And
the,
finally got to save money instead of spend it.
So, you spoke last time, Tay, about increasing
Yeah.
that blue to 10?
Right.
Done there.
Yes.
Okay,
This
cool.
is
That was
starting
my-
next fiscal year, we'll show it as 10,
Okay.
and then another
And then the
5
red
for
to 5.
property.
Correct.
Yeah.
there you go. We're gonna be in good shape.
Now,
Okay.
for the 10, we have to have a state of emergency, right, to be able to use that fund?
Not
Or
necessarily.
how does that work?
That's just cash flow measures.
We
Oh.
don't
Cash flow.
want, we don't want the general fund to dip.
Right, right. No, I know, I'm totally 100% for
Oh,
the
yeah.
10.
It's more symbolic than real as far as
Got
day-to-day
it.
use.
Oh, I thought it was
does-
real.
Yeah, no.
I was hoping to make
No,
it
no,
real.
it's not.
Okay.
So in the past, it was more important because the general fund surplus was rather flat.
Mm-hmm.
So the, so the,
We were broke.
We're broke.
We were broke. We had to make payroll.
Got it,
then
okay.
State,
There's no downside to doing it.
No, no, I
Yeah.
absolutely, no, it was my idea. I absolutely wanted it to happen. I thought it was more of a, you needed, I was more protecting it for, yeah, okay, fine.
Well, in a way you are, because
Yeah,
let's say if there's a
you are.
delay in
Yeah.
Sacramento sending us money,
I
or
think
the
all in
county,
all, it's still a
then you
good-
can always have
It's a
cash.
good thing to do.
Got it.
right,
Yeah.
state in the past.
I like it.
Messed with the city's revenue sources, so
Yeah.
it was creating massive cash flow issues. Now with this big surplus, it's just like cash flow is increasing.
So,
with it.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to, okay.
I'm sorry, you may want to rethink it in a few years, seeing what the economy does, but for the moment, it's a good thing to do.
No, I think increasing is a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we go back.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
On that, Ray, you raised a good point last time, at the last meeting, that it wasn't 8 million all the way.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Ca-
we
ca-
six
Can
and a
we,
half.
can we reflect that here?
Actually, I did go back.
So at least we know exactly how
So-
much it was
So the
before.
graphics are.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
fair.
There were
So
some 6 millions at the beginning.
6.5,
Right.
8, and now 10.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to see the progression from whatever the amount was, and then 8, and then becomes 10.
6 million when I started here.
So when
Stay
I,
in the city, aren't you?
I looked at,
Yeah, he's getting his graphics ready.
Yeah,
Good job.
so I
you
went,
missed that point.
I didn't.
No, we didn't.
Did you already work on that, Tay?
Seems like
so
yesterday.
I went back in the past budget documents. In 2007-8, we show $8.5 million.
Also,
2008-09, we show $8.4 million. 2009-10, we start showing $8 million from that point on. Simply because it was before that, it was pegged to a percentage, so it was fluctuating every year. So we tried to level it. So starting 2009-10, in the budget document we show $8 million as.
Let me share something with you. So,
Yeah.
when we did Measure A and lost, remember we had to go do the road show, Dan?
18 votes.
We had that same
Is that
bar
2000?
graph that you have. That's why I remember it, because we're carrying around the poster board all over to these organizations showing the 6.5 million. So maybe Mike Egan did a roundabout, rounded it off, and had that graph done then. But that's what I was trained on.
Right.
Yeah.
Ballot measure did on the son of Measure A, I think, it wasn't 8 million consistently, so there was some fluctuation
Well,
on the
you did
board.
the second Measure A.
I did the second
You
Measure
Measure
A,
P,
right,
and see,
and-
Measure A.
And at that point, it
Yeah.
was 6 million reflected on the
Yeah.
charts that we had.
I
Maybe
think it
the
was
charts were wrong,
6.5
but,
or
I mean, I inherited the charts when I got here, that's why I remember those.
My
So,
memory is kind of,
Yeah,
it doesn't go back that
so I think the mayor wants it to show 6.5.
Well, whatever it was. I don't know whatever it was. I don't want to be
It-
reflective of the
It doesn't,
reality.
it doesn't
I
matter.
know.
It's academic. and as
No,
far as-
if we can, but if we
I
cannot,
just don't know
then,
when it switched, I can't remember.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was way before 2007-08 because.
Yeah,
in the
before that,
budget-
because that's what, when I got elected in 2007, it was there.
Yeah, Mingle had the charts were ready when I got here, and I got.
No,
it
Mingle
was like,
probably,
you gotta do
give
this.
Mingle a call, he probably has a chart.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. He might have the chart in his living room. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. So.
All right. Okay. Well, if we can find out, if not, then we'll stick with this.
Thank you. Those are the numbers I found in the past budget
Yeah,
document.
okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to bring
go
back
ahead.
a conversation. Item number 16, for the traffic calming measure implementation, I want clarification. I'm hoping for clarification here. I'm good with doing a study session, but I want to know that how we would go about after the study session into allocating ideally funds into the implementation of traffic mitigation.
You have the laundry list of mitigation measures that Lynn pulled together a year and a half ago, whatever that was, and we have, the tools are in place. And
Right.
The allocation would be in what you choose to do with the tools that are in place, if we choose to do it. And where, correct, yeah. So, I mean, there's no way to answer that now. It's more about, are you going to actually do some of the stuff that we talked about, you know?
Right, and that's kind of where, is that where we're gonna wait for the study session to have that conversation? Because I think it'd be great for us to be able to say, look, this was surveyed, this was an issue, and we've set aside X number of dollars.
If you end
For
up not using
implementation.
it,
Oh, we gotta
you might
use
be, well, you don't have to, because there's gonna be a lot of blowback in anything you do, you know that. There's nothing easy on these things.
Fair enough, you're right.
So I wouldn't put that in the budget, because people will expect you to do something you may not be willing to do. I'm just saying that
I see.
we've gone through this laundry list of traffic calming issues, and they frankly don't seem all that palatable when you start trotting them out to see what you want to do, so.
Okay, so
That's the
so the
downside.
goal with the study session will be, in other words, we don't need to really set aside anything
You
right now.
don't. I mean, here's, the goal is you got the toys in the toy box, which toys do you want to play with?
Okay.
That's, yeah.
All right, that's
And-
that was my clarification point.
And we
Thank
can
you.
always modify the budget anyway,
Perfect.
so.
It is a living document, so I
Yeah,
know that.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
You're right. All right,
Okay.
cool. Just clarifying.
All right, any other question? So we beat this to death already? So let me just kind of recap. Anything else that staff will be coming back to us before we actually bless the budget?
Plus the budget, no. You've got studies coming back on the street fencing. We have work to do there. We've got,
I think street fencing is done, right?
well,
We did that.
all of it? I
Yeah.
have notes here that, okay.
The study is for the, sorry, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Go
apologize.
ahead.
The study is for, or not the study, but design of,
Correct, that's what I
Okay.
meant. So I'm sorry, I got that wrong, but
Of
that's
the-
exactly what I'm coming back.
okay.
And then you've got obviously, the traffic calming study session coming back.
that- yep.
And then I've got a note here for, we still have to get with Edison to see if the lighting, south of 91 freeway is feasible on those poles there that are gonna come back. So that would be an open issue. I'm sorry, south of Walnut, that would be coming back. Yeah.
Do we have to come back for number 8, for the cost of maintaining the trees?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly,
Yes,
that's the
yes.
maintenance of the trees, especially for year 1 and possibly year 2,
Yeah.
if needed.
Right,
Okay.
and that's it. yeah.
Other than that, I think we're good, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Not bad.
Ray, you're good? Okay. All right, so,
I'll make a motion to approve the budget. Is that what you're looking for?
no,
No,
not yet, not yet, no, not
yet,
today. There's
Well, I'm ready.
there's,
We have, we,
not so fast.
we have
driving around this
consensus. We've got the direction we need so far to add
Right,
these items to
exactly.
the budget. Yeah.
There's a specific day to approve the budget. City Clerk, that's be on the, what meeting day is that? Oh, it's here. Yeah, schedule,
The budget adoption is scheduled for June 12th.
June 12th, okay.
We got a lot of time to mess it up.
Victor says he needs more time to drive around.
And, and, and just a reminder, we still have a special meeting on the 15th, right, May 15th? That's on, we
We pretty
vote on
well
the budget,
completed our work
on the
on this.
budget changes, right?
Actually, this was it. I don't think we had to come back.
I think we're done.
We did?
Yeah.
Except for one item, right, on the maintenance?
I think that what we can do is, Len is going to do some research on the maintenance and the other three items that we mentioned. We can get those costs back to you in the weekly and just add it to the budget document as we
Okay.
come in. Yeah,
So we don't need to vote on that?
I don't think you need to vote on
So
that.
basically, we already voted on the changes to the budget today,
I think so, yeah.
okay? Wow. We save you guys time.
We did it last year. We did it last budget too, guys. We saved an extra meeting, so.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true, very true. Okay, so there's no formal action needed today? We have consensus, all right. All right, very good, thank you so much for that. So moving on to item 5A. Oh, does anyone want to take a break? Let's take a 5-minute health break. I do need health break. All right, we are reconvening the meeting. Item 5A, Mr. Stewart.
We are going to talk about the naming of the new Youth and Senior Center on Oak Street at Sims Park. It's up to you.
Okay. Staff, could you refresh our memory?
Yeah, so.
Yes.
It's been a
Yeah.
long time.
Yes, Mayor, if I could, there was real no change to the last staff report. The recommended name from staff was the Oak Center. There were some alternatives mentioned. The mayor and the council wanted to think about it and push it out, and there was also discussion about timeline and timing. We did hear back and with discussion with the design team and the graphics team, and in order to stay online, as Lynn was mentioning at the last study session, we will need a name by May 11th. So that's just under 2 weeks now.
Okay.
So that's kind of our timeline we're looking at. If for some reason we want to go past that, it will impact our time, and we already know it's a very aggressive timeline to get where we want for groundbreaking. But I just want to make sure that the council understands that the name and the design of the name is part of the entire design package for the design bid build, which will be the process that we will be going through.
Okay, so you said May 11th,
May 11th would be the drop dead date to stay
Okay.
on track where we're at.
and today is May?
2.
Okay, so conversely, if we come up with a decision today, will the timeline be accelerated?
No. No, I like where your mind is, though. I like, we are meeting tomorrow, we have a already scheduled meeting tomorrow with the entire design team specifically for the graphics and the signage
So
tomorrow.
it doesn't work both ways, huh?
We can definitely make that recommendation if you decide on a name today. We will make that recommendation
Well,
tomorrow.
because I spent a couple of sleepless nights just to make sure that we come up with a decision today, so I want to make sure that it pays off. All right. Councilmember Coops, I think you have some kind of thoughts about this. You're ready
Well,
to go?
I like the Oak Center, and so when you're, I think what you're leaning towards is at our next council meeting, be able to determine this, because that's next Monday,
If we
correct?
can finish it today.
All right, I'd like to finish it today. I'd
Yeah.
prefer to finish
Yeah,
it today.
okay.
But I have not thought up anything better. It kind of matches what we got with Main Street and the Main Center and the Oak, and I'm a little reluctant on what was the pros you had below it? Commitment.
We
for
had a
the
tagline,
generation.
and we don't
Tagline,
need to go with
tagline.
that.
The
That
tagline, yeah.
where connections build community.
Well, I don't think the builder needs that.
And we don't need that on any signage. We can think of that later and put
So
it on
I'd
all
like
the
to table
branding.
that part of it
Yep.
and just go with strictly the naming of the building. And I'll vote for what was submitted by staff.
So the tagline, for clarification, the tagline will not be part of the sign.
Correct, and we had that option, we were discussing signage, so we were looking at several different signs. So it could be, or it could not be, but we can, the design's not final. The name, once, whatever we come up with, whether it's today or the next meeting, that, the design will be built around that. So if you tell me today, no tagline included in any of the signage, then that's the way they'll build it. That's the way they'll design it. That's the way they'll design all the signage.
We've never had a tagline on any of our park signs, have we?
It's there, I don't know if we have, no.
Well, I'm just thinking
No.
of what we've done in Bellflower
No,
historically.
and I think the recommendation on the tagline was to, some way, somehow tie in that it's both a youth and a senior center and to tie it in. Again, it's not.
I'm not saying don't have one, I just felt the phrase was cumbersome, that's all I'm saying.
Right, and again, we can not include it at all, we can come up with one later and include it more in the marketing pieces
But if it doesn't
after
hold
the
up
fact.
production of the building, I was hopeful that we could discuss that at a later time.
Yeah,
So what I'm envisioning, the tagline will be added on later on. So for example, let's say in terms of advertising, maybe we can put something inside the building,
come in the
but
building, there
not,
it is.
not on the exterior.
absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Brochures, things like that.
Right.
Okay, so because just like City of Bellflower, we keep changing the taglines over the years.
Correct.
You know,
We've never
watching,
done-
I mean,
We do it inside the building here.
growing together,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the friendly city,
Right,
so something that can be changed.
but we don't put it on the outside
Right,
of the building.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, it can go in the literature and different
Right.
things like
could-
that.
Or
yes.
maybe even in the lobby
Yes,
later on.
absolutely.
What do you think of that, Ray?
Well, the
Just
tag,
conceptually.
conceptually, I like that idea, and I think, you know, if we get too many taglines out there, I know there's tagline or whatever, I think the growing together tagline, if we're gonna continue to use it on everything we have,
That works too.
or none at all, you know.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
think, like PJ said, he was trying to designate that building to have multiple generational
Yeah.
uses.
Right.
Growing together at the
together,
Oak
senior-
Center.
Yeah, seniors
kinda
and
long.
seniors and youth.
Growing old.
But I like it, growing together.
Yeah, but anyway,
All right.
let's work on a name
Let's work
first.
on the name,
Yeah.
okay. Councilmember Sanchez,
I'm cool with the Oak Center.
There
okay,
you got your 2 votes.
all right.
I wanna hear your ideas, Mayor.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So we can
Because
thrash.
I haven't thought of anything. you
Or the
know,
Sunny
other than
Center.
What staff came with or whatever, there's nothing.
My first thought
Yeah.
was call it Sunny Center. Just kidding, I'm
The
just kidding.
Sunny Center, I like
Yeah,
Sunny
and
Center
I think if
too.
you wanna give it a little numeration, we'll consider that.
How about Sunny Senior Center?
Oh, no. I'm okay with the Oak Center. So, without a tagline. Because to me, it doesn't, whatever tagline I was thinking about, it will not fit into the generational group that we are trying to attract. And at the same time, it doesn't reflect what we're trying to do with the center. So I think the Oak Center will stand by on its own.
Taglines always get dated.
Right,
always.
exactly.
Dated,
That's
right.
why I was saying, by growing together, friendly city, we can always change that. But the name outside and the exterior, the monument, for example, it should be something that is, it's gonna last a long time,
Permanent.
Absolutely.
okay? All right, so with that, now, having said that, I think we have a consensus here. So can you push the sign
Backwards,
team?
yeah.
Yes, I will push as much as I can with them and
Because you guys push us to
And
come up with decisions, so we're gonna
Yes.
push back, okay?
we will push.
Tomorrow, call them and say, they wanna know if we get a week's credit on moving the date up.
Or a discount.
If they
We
named it
yeah,
now.
we already have a meeting with
Don't
them
tell
set
them
up tomorrow, and we
Yeah.
will tell them that.
Yeah,
You
don't
guys
do
are amazing. I would have bet 15 minutes on the first item, the 18 items that we're gonna get forward, and 2 hours on the name. But you just flipped it.
I knew we're gonna have a consensus because, Jeff, because Ray and Dan, I knew already it's gonna be going for the Oak Center.
Oh, no, I was
From the
I
last-
was
from the
gonna keep
last
my mind
meeting.
open.
Okay. So I know already that we're gonna go that way, most likely. All right, so you got directions? Anything else? Oh, okay.
If you want,
His
if you
life should not
want
be
to,
that easy.
I mean, if
Sonny, did you have any other ideas?
Yeah, did
No,
you have any other
I
ideas,
was,
Sonny?
I was looking forward.
No,
for
I
it.
know, no.
Len Gurecki wants you to grind him as much as he got ground up in the last few
I mean, well,
We can continue talking about my office if you guys want.
Let's talk about the Carpenter House.
yeah, the Carpenter House more exciting. So, did you give an answer about the student project on the Carpenter House? How far along are they?
No, actually, and they've, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, the school year is running out here pretty quick. so
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
super
It's only a
hopeful.
few more weeks.
He's already got it on his college application, so it's all good.
It's all good.
And that was the big push
I think that was
from
the big
him,
push,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so with that, we're done. So this meeting is adjourned.